In a cozy village surrounded by rolling hills, life was good. Villagers enjoyed nature, tended their fields, and shared stories by the fire. But a dark cloud loomed over them. Mount Grimgar's cave, wrapped in mist and mystery, gave off an eerie vibe. The villagers whispered about a scary dragon living in that cave. They said its presence brought bad luck and its fiery breath could turn someone to ashes in a flash. No one had seen it, but the stories were enough to freak everyone out. As a result, the villagers avoided the lower slopes of Mount Grimgar, sticking to the upper regions where the dragon's shadow couldn't reach. Years went by and the tale of the terrifying dragon became a part of the village folklore, shaping the daily lives of the villagers. In the village lived a young woman named Lyra, a talented weaver whose fingers flew over her loom, crafting beautiful tapestries. Despite her skills, she felt a strong urge for adventure, a longing that seemed out of place in her cautious little village. Lyra spent her days weaving on her loom, but at night, she dreamed of distant lands and magical creatures. She longed for adventure beyond her village, yet the fear of the dragon kept her stuck. Its fiery breath and sharp claws made the safety of home feel too comforting to leave. Lyra felt restless, stuck in her cozy life, while up on Mount Grimgar, Ignis the dragon lounged in his cave, his ruby-like scales glinting in the dark. Ignis was a dragon, but not the scary kind. He loved peace, enjoyed solitude, and spent his days watching the seasons change while the village bustled below. It was his happy place. Ignis didn't dislike the villagers, but they'd always made him uneasy. He got used to his lonely life, with just his thoughts and the occasional curious bat for company. In a hidden cave, Ignis built a cozy sanctuary, showing his gentle side despite the villagers' fear of him as a dragon. Instead of anger, he felt sad, wishing to connect with them and prove he meant no harm. Ignis, despite looking fierce, had a heart as big as the sky. He dreamed of a world where dragons and humans lived together in peace, but his fears kept him stuck in his lonely life. But Ignis was wise enough to know that such a dream was a distant one. Still, a flicker of hope remained in his heart. Perhaps one day they would understand. Fate had a funny way of showing up. As time passed, Lyra felt a deep change within her. The pull of the unknown was now impossible to ignore. She realized that life was too short to be lived in fear and too precious to be wasted in needless caution. So with a heart full of both excitement and trepidation, Lyra decided to venture into the forbidden zone at the base of Mount Grimgar. Her steps were slow, her senses alert, each rustle of leaves or chirp of a bird making her heart skip a beat. Yet as she descended, a strange calm washed over her. Fear gave way to curiosity and caution to resolve. Lyra was set on finding the truth and facing the legendary dragon from her village's stories. What she didn't expect was that her journey would change her life forever. Meanwhile, Ignis, sensing a disturbance in the tranquility of his domain, emerged from his cavern, his massive form casting an imposing silhouette against the backdrop of the setting sun. Curiosity sparked within him, an emotion he hadn't felt in years. With cautious steps, Ignis began his descent, his keen senses attuned to the slightest sound. As he rounded a bend in the path, his gaze met Lyra's. Time seems to stand still. Lyra, gazing up at Ignis, saw not a monster, but a majestic creature of immense beauty and tranquility. Ignis, in turn, saw in Lyra not a fearful villager, but a symbol of the curiosity and courage that had once defined his own spirit. In that moment, an unspoken understanding passed between them, bridging the chasm of fear and misconception that had separated them for so long. Curiosity sparked by Ignis's gentle vibe, Lyra's fear melted into fascination. Feeling bold, she started asking him questions, eager to uncover the mysteries of his kind. Ignis, touched by Lyra's kindness, shared his thoughts. He reminisced about when dragons and humans lived in harmony and dreamed of a future where that could happen again. As the sun set, Lyra and Ignis chatted, their bond growing stronger. This unlikely friendship would soon shine as a beacon of hope for their communities. Word spread fast in the village about Lyra meeting Ignis, catching the elder's attention. Curious and a bit worried, he wanted to check it out. He journeyed to the base of Mount Grimgar, where he found Lyra and Ignis engaged in a lively conversation. Witnessing the camaraderie between them, the elder's initial apprehension gave way to intrigue. He spent the afternoon with them, listening to Ignis's tales and observing the peaceful interaction between the dragon and the villagers. By the end of the day, the elder had a newfound perspective. He realized that Ignis, far from being a monster, was a creature of intelligence, grace, and wisdom, and that Lyra's friendship with him was not a folly, but a bridge to understanding. Upon returning to the village, the elder shared his experiences with the rest of the community. He spoke of Ignis's gentle nature, his stories of the past, and his hopes for the future. The villagers were doubtful at first, struggling to match the legendary dragon with the gentle creature the elder described. But his heartfelt stories made them wonder if they'd been wrong all along. As days passed, more villagers, driven by curiosity and the elder's encouragement, ventured to meet Ignis. Each returned with stories that chipped away at the wall of fear that had stood for generations. Before long, the entire village was buzzing with tales of Ignis's wisdom, his knowledge of ancient times, and his deep-rooted desire for harmony between dragons and humans. The vibe changed completely. Instead of fear, curiosity took over. The villagers started seeing Ignis as more than a monster. He was becoming someone to respect, admire, and maybe even befriend. How cool is that? And so, the age-old animosity that had cast a shadow over the valley for generations began to dissipate, replaced by the dawn of understanding and the promise of a new era of coexistence. Thank you for watching.